What's going on, YouTube world and YouTube tribe? Welcome back to Little Bit Man Gaming, bringing you a review for the third episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, called Power Broker. And yeah, I want you to remember that name, Power Broker, because it's going to be coming up a lot in this thing. But first, I get everybody to hit that like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. Also, leave a comment down below what you thought of this episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And yeah, for those who are not subscribed, do all those great things. Smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, and yeah, let's get this groovy train going. And those I can't forget those who are subscribed already. Love you, thank you, appreciate you for allowing me to entertain you and bringing you news and whatnot and reviews and whatnot to you to entertain you. But you know, all that out the way, let's go. You know what I like to do is I like to give you the synopsis, right? Power Broker. Sam, Bucky, and an unlikely ally venture to a criminal safe haven in Indonesia in search of information about the super soldier serum. So, if you haven't seen that the Star Spangled Man, which was episode 2, I'm not going to spoil everything, but I have to spoil because it's essential to the episode and the plot. But I did say in the last one that they teamed, somebody from a movie showed up and is back into this, and we all know, we seen them on the poster. So now this is time to talk about it. So if you haven't seen it, go back and seen it, come back to this video. But right now, here we go. So picking up where Star Spangled Man left off, Sam and Bucky go visit an unlikely person to get information about the super soldier serum, because the show actually starts with, I think, the new Captain America or U.S. agent, when he eventually will be known, and so you know, we're starting to see the cracks in his foundation. One thing I like to point out, like the stark contrast, before I get into this, the stark contrast difference between this show and WandaVision, where WandaVision was more about the guilt and eventual healing of Wanda, or the lack thereof of healing, I guess, because you could say at the end of it, she still was searching for a way to bring back not only her children, but but Vision as well. We see that, you know, where that show is about guilt and sadness and you know, all, you know, and trying to get over hurt trauma and how hurt trauma affects that, you know, a person with powers. This show, after 3 episodes in, is more political. It's more the political side of things. You know, it's got a little bit of guilt. But it's more political. It's like, and they even mention it in this episode. That's why I bring this up, because this episode brings a question into mind. Is the whole Star Spangled thing, you know, Captain America, like is it all just a load of crap? You know, is it all just a political game? Like, in the end, do it really mean something? And I will get to why this question is brought up. But I want y'all to keep that in mind, and maybe even comment down below what you think once we get to that part, and let's have a discussion on it. And I will remind you guys. But so we continue on. Like I said, we see the foundation, the crack in U.S. agent. I like to call him U.S. agent because that's what he's eventually going to turn into. But Captain America for now. John Walker, we see the cracks in his foundation because he's trying to round up the people that we seen in the last episode that was helping the Flag Smashers, and he's like, I know Carly and her gang of super soldiers were here. Where are they? You know, the dude was talking to him in German. He act like he don't know how to speak English. So then he had his friend translate for him, and he said you American dogs, basically. I don't know what you're talking about, and blah 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 this, blah 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 that, and he gets mad and he grabs him and puts him up. Do you know who I am? And no, before he does that, he I think he gets spit on, and that's what makes him grab him and push him against the wall. Do you know who I am? And the dude finally speaks in English. I don't care. He said, I know and I don't care. And we see that he's starting to, like, the pressure of being the next Captain America is starting to get to him. I mean, no, Steve would have never done nothing like that. Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't, but it's starting to seem like the pressure of being Captain America, living up to that name, is starting to get to him. And we see that they hit dead ends from their side. They, just like how Bucky and them was hitting dead ends, how we see they hit dead ends, but they're hitting dead ends and they don't know what to do. But then they was like, they got to go about their rules. They got to get permission to do anything else. And he said, so we back on the horse that that we know could get the job done or get some answers. And he was referred to Bucky and Sam. And we see Bucky and Sam, like I was starting off with, they're going after their lead, which is Baron Zemo. Baron Zemo, who made an appearance at the end of last week's episode. Now they're going to talk to him. And Bucky tells Sam, stay here, let me go talk to him. Sam has reservations. He don't even think it's the right thing to do. And he's like, you know what? No, stay. We exhausted all the options. We have no leads. We need to know how they getting the super social serum on, like, how how it was made. Because the only person who knew how died in the first Captain America movie, and how is it somebody's actually able to crack the code and replicate the serum? So, reluctantly, Sam lets Bucky go on to talk to Zemo. Sam tells him that the reason why he wants him to stay back is because he's an Avenger and he hates Avengers. So he goes to see Zemo. Zemo's just like, oh yeah, he starts saying the little code words to Sam to see, that usually gets Sam hypnotizing into the trance to becoming the Winter Soldier. But Bucky tells him that, I'm a different person now. That whole brainwashing stuff has been negated out of my head. That doesn't work anymore now. He has control again. Like those code words and those brainwashings is gone. He's a whole different person. He said, I know. I just wanted to see how you react, how the new you reacts to the old code words. And then they start they start bantering back and forth. He wants to know why he's here, and Bucky tells him that they need the lead. They need the lead on the super soldier information, because they he lets him know that he knows that one thing we know about Zemo is what Bucky mentions, is that he don't like Avengers or super soldiers, because he sees super soldiers and Avengers in the same vein. He don't want anybody. His whole plan was to rid the world of superpowers via super soldiers or or Avengers. And we saw that in Captain America Civil War, where he shot all the super soldiers. And he once he hears this, he wholeheartedly agrees to help them, because he want to finish his work of ridding the world of super soldiers as much as he would Avengers. And Bucky, but he has a condition for Bucky. And then we see, next thing you know, we see Bucky and Sam at this little I want to say warehouse for the cars. And Bucky's like, we might have to break Zemo out of jail so we could get that information. And he was like, no. It sounded like no hell, no way in hell. When we break that madman out of jail, did you know what he? Did you forget what he did to you, to me, and the rest of the Avengers? He said, I know. Don't trust me. I know, but we hit dead ends. We had no leads on the Super Soldier, no leads on Carly and her and the Flash Masters. We had nothing. Yet he might be the only way to get to it. And while they're talking, we see flashes of how a jailbreak is happening. Because Sam is explaining he said, "What did you do?" So I haven't done anything. But let me hit you with a hypothetical. What if there was this, then there was that, and we see how in this little hypothetical, Sam basically started a prison riot, which allowed guards to go check on him because that's their protocol, which means nobody was watching Zemo. Zemo ended up getting the upper hand on the guard because he had a key card. He had a key card hidden in one of his books, and he used that key card to escape. He attacks the guard, gets his clothes, and used the assuring chaos to escape prison. But we see that his hypothetical wasn't a hypothetical; it actually was an actual, and that he lied to saying that he didn't do anything. He actually really did break Zemo out of jail, because at that moment, at the end of the jailbreak and Zemo getting out, we see that they go back to them in the warehouse, and you actually see Zemo enter the warehouse. Is dressed in the guard's clothes that he was in the hypothetical, which proves that he really was in the hypothetical. Sam would get mad, like, what the hell is he doing? What did you do? And he was like, okay, I lied. I broke him out of jail, but I knew you'd be against it and you would stop me, so I had to lie to you to let it happen so we could get the lead. He was like, hell no, you're going back to jail. And he's like, Zemo tried to get his little words in, but he's like, sorry. He's like, you shut up. They both tell him to shut up, and Sam. He's like, what did you mean? Like, he's like, we need him at this point. Like, once we done, yes, he's going back to jail, but we need him. We need him to get us where we can't right now. Sam reluctantly agrees, and they work with Zemo. Zemo basically takes it. We find out that Zemo was actually rich, and he was actually rich and had a wealthy family. And he said, yes, he was before you and your friends came and destroyed my home. And we see that Zemo in the warehouse. Zemo gathers all his weapons and supplies, and we see that famous Zemo purple mask. And he takes that with him as well, and fully becoming the comic book character Baron Zemo. We also we get to see that things from Civil War, not everything from Civil War has been forgiven, because this takes them to Indonesia, where they had to track down this lady who might have a lead on the person with the super soldier serum. And during this time we get to hear about the proud broker and some who had his hand in everything. They also have a little back and forth banter about Marvin Gaye on the plane, where Zemo, and then where it got serious, where Zemo mentions how when he met Captain America, he learned some things from when he met him, and he starts saying how people like him who becomes icons and these legends, we put them on pedestals, and Sam was like, I'm warning you. He said, watch your step, Zemo. Zemo saying how we put people like Captain America and the Avengers on pedestals, and yet we deny that they have flaws. And he was saying at first you think he just he's about to bash the Avengers and Zemo, and Captain America, but it's actually he's making a point why they go into Indonesia. He said when he was, this ties to back how he set up everything for Civil War. He's saying that do we really want to live in a world for like people like Red Skull. You know, people we put people on a pedestal because he said all this does is bring us to war. He said cities fly, people invade, and wars are fought. And he said, do we really want? He said that's what he said. Do we really want to live in a world where people like Red Skulls is that cause these things to happen? And he said that's why we going to Indonesia to stop people like to stop these super soldiers from becoming like these symbols and icons to where war is fought and people are killed. And his point was that he was saying that he said they put Captain America on the pedestal, yet he had flaws himself. So yeah, we get to Indonesia. They meet with this lady who has information that Baron Zemo knows to have information about these new super soldier serums. We also get I briefly will mention. We also get to see some more details on Carly. She loses a person close to her. And we also get to see that. We also get to learn even more about them. I guess they were people. They're helping people because we see I think it's called the GRC is what the new Captain America and his friend works for. They're supposed to be helping people who came back. We get a little commercial about that. They're supposed to be helping people who was blipped away and came back, but instead they just sitting on the resources that could be helping these displaced people who was gone for 5 years and back. And that we even get more insight to how there's new government programs and laws and legislations about people who's been gone for 5 years. And we also get to see that the new Captain America, John Walker, and his friend also finally catches up to the prison that Baron Zemo was in, and that they learned that Bucky and them was there, and they the friend was like, telling John Walker, you think they really broke Bucky out? Broke Zemo out, and he was like, he's like, of course they did. They was running the dead ends just like we was running the dead ends, and they went to the only man with that either side knows that had information about the super soldier serum. Because he whatever resources he had, that's how he found the super soldiers in Civil War. He said, "Man, we about to have some serious proof if we're going to accuse them of breaking Zemo out." He said, "Oh, we'll get it, but for right now, we're gonna play the cards we're dealt." And we're gonna use this to our advantage. He said, we can't do that because we got rules that we got to follow. He said, what they gonna do? What they gonna do? Fire us or whatever. We gonna get in trouble. We doing what we have to do. And we see that the power afforded to him by being the new Captain America is starting to go to his head. Some more cracks in the foundation. So we get to Indonesia, and Zemo has Bucky pretend to be the Winter Soldier again. Sam has to be this guy, snake bite. I forgot what they call the guy. But they had to pretend to be these people to get in to this underworld, and where this underworld is in Indonesia is it's like a pirate safe haven. It was a pirate safe haven, Bucky said, back in the 1800s, and it still is to this day in modern times. But now it's a safe haven for people, for the criminal underworld that had their hands in everything, including superpowered things like the super soldier serum. So they go meet this lady who has dealings with the power broker, and we learned that that's who originally had this serum for the super soldier serum, and they Carly and her gang stole the super soldier serum from him, and that's why the power broker is after them. We do get to see another scene with Cardi and them as they stole the supplies from this group of GRC people, and Cardi ended up blowing the place up. And, the dude's like, "What are you doing? Why did you do that?" And he said, "Because this the language that these people only understands, and that we need to make a statement." Just want to throw that scene in there. So then we get to meet this lady. She gives them the information. She tells Zemo that you didn't have to make all that noise. To come in here, you shouldn't have came in here because I could have had you killed, but you were right to come to me. Where are you offering me for this information? And so in exchange for the information, I would give you the Winter Soldier himself and the list of command words to control him. And they, she agreed. So she gives them the information, telling them that there was a scientist. There was a scientist who was hired by the power broker, to replicate the super soldier serum, and he was successful in doing so. And and basically we learned that in doing this, he was actually able. They was actually going to get the scientist's location, but they ended up having a problem because Sam's phone went off. His sister's called in a funny little moment. He had to try to be like he tried to pretend like he was still the dude, but his sister, couldn't catch on what was going on. She ended up accidentally calling him Sam, which got them caught. But they ended up having to fight her guards, and she was going to order them to be killed, but she got shot by some unknown person, which they leave the guns there because they knew that was going to be blamed for her death. And we get to meet Shannon Carter, who we find out who is one of the people from Civil War that still haven't been pardoned for her crime the crime she committed in there. And this is where she's been this whole time since Civil War, because nobody backed her and tried to clear her name. So they need her help finding the scientist, and they tell her that, hey, you help us, we'll find the scientist, we'll make sure you get your name cleared. And this is where the conversation comes in, where was everything just a load of crap? The whole Star Spangled thing, the whole believing in the justice and the system and all that type of stuff, because she even mentions how if Sam truly believed in it, he wouldn't have gave up Captain America's shield. So in turn, she said, deep down, you must think it's a load of crap too, because you gave away his shield. And Baron Zemo said, oh, he does believe, and not so deep down. And Shannon Carter agrees to help them only if they agreed to get her pardon. So they end up finding a scientist who they found out she deals in art. She deals in the shady underworld as well, and got to know people who knows what the scientist is. They end up finding a scientist, and the scientist end up revealing that he created the super soldier serum, as that this is where Isaiah comes back into play. Okay, he said he was hired by Hydra to continue the super soldier serum work, and when they went under and got exposed, he was hired by the CIA to continue it, where they had blood samples from a super soldier who had stable serum in his blood, and that person was Isaiah. And Sam is put off about how they treated Isaiah again, and how it was a bunch of load of crap, how they treated him, and he ended up telling they made 20, but Carly and them stole it, and then he ended up getting killed by Zemo, who once Sarah Carter had to fight off all these mercenaries that was coming and looking for them, and they end up killing these mercenaries and escaping. And they Bucky, Sam is still reeling from the fact that what Sharon had to go through. He admits that the crap that Sharon had to go through, and that maybe he was wrong for giving up Captain America's shield. Maybe he was. Maybe he should have destroyed it. He said, before you go and destroy it, before you go destroy it, I'm gonna take it before you destroy it. And that shield meant a lot of things to a lot of people. They also head to they got the whereabouts of a new location and a new lead onto to where the super soldier serum could possibly be held, and then we get a little cameo appearance for somebody in a cool way from Wakanda, who's also looking for Baron Zemo, because they haven't forgot that Zemo is the reason why T'Challa's father is dead. But that's all I got. If I had to give the show anything, I would give it 9 big ups, because it was just an amazing episode. I had no problem with it whatsoever. I recommend you guys go see it for the stuff I left out. yeah, y'all can do me a favor and hit this button right here for more of my reviews on not just shows like this, but anything. Hit this button to subscribe or hit any one of these amazing contents for more of my amazing content. Till the next one, peace.